November 2025. Tesla sales collapsed 23%, just 39,800 vehicles, worst in 4 years. They slashed $5,000 off Model 3 and Y. Didn't help. The entire EV market down 41%. Yet Tesla stock hits $490, all-time high. Here's why Wall Street's not crazy. In 130 days, mass production begins on a 2-seat taxi with 0 steering wheel, 0 pedals, operating fully autonomous at 20 cents per mile. Compare that to your $2 to $3 Uber ride today, and Tesla's keeping every single one, running their own fleet, keeping 100% of revenue, no drivers to pay, no Uber taking cuts. Why would a car company suddenly become a taxi company? A traditional taxi costs you $2 to $3 per mile. Uber, Lyft, same story after surge pricing. Cybercab operates at 20 to 30 cents. That's not a discount. That's obliterating the entire ride-sharing industry's pricing model. But here's the part nobody's connecting. Tesla isn't planning to sell you this car. They're keeping them. Every single one. Think about what that means. Tesla becomes the car manufacturer and the taxi company. No middleman, no Uber taking 25%, no driver taking 60%. Just pure margin flowing directly to Tesla's bottom line. This isn't innovation. This is complete market disruption. The numbers Wall Street is actually betting on tell a different story than the headlines. Each Cybercab runs 20 hours daily at 30 cents per mile. That generates $180 to $220 in daily revenue. Subtract electricity at $15, maintenance at $10, insurance at $5. You're left with $150 plus in daily profit per vehicle. Multiply by 365 days, and you get $54,000 annual profit per car. Now scale to 100,000 vehicles, and that's $5.4 billion in recurring operating income every single year. Here's why this matters more than you think. Compare that to selling a $45,000 Model 3 with maybe $8,000 profit margin. Tesla sells once and moves on. With Cybercab, they recover that $8,000 in under 2 months of operation, then keep earning for years. It's the fundamental difference between selling razors and owning the subscription service. One is transactional, the other is transformational. But can they actually build it? December changed everything. Let me walk you through what happened, because this is where concept became reality, and skeptics like me had to reconsider. December 7th brought the first public sighting, a golden Cybercab with Texas plates and manufacturer tags, driving through downtown Austin during rush hour. No steering wheel installation, no safety driver trailing behind, just an empty driver's seat navigating real traffic alongside regular cars. 8 days later, sightings emerged in Palo Alto, then Fremont. Multiple Cybercabs in different colors, all mixing with regular traffic on public roads. This wasn't controlled testing anymore. This was real-world validation happening in plain sight. Then December 18th delivered the evidence that made me reconsider my skepticism. Drone footage from Gigafactory, Texas showed 16 Cybercab prototypes lined up for crash testing. Not 1 or 2 test units, 16 vehicles destroyed for validation. You don't crash test 16 vehicles unless final certification is weeks away, not months. And those crashed units revealed something crucial. Airbags deployed perfectly, side curtains worked exactly as designed. The safety systems passed. 3 days later, leaked trunk photos revealed something most people missed, but I find fascinating. The new design shows commercial-grade rugged lining instead of soft carpet. They removed side humps for aerodynamics and added powered struts so the trunk opens itself. There's specialized venting, possibly for battery thermal management during 24/7 operation. Now here's why a trunk redesign actually matters, and it reveals Tesla's entire strategy. Your personal car operates maybe 2 to 3 hours daily. Cybercab will run 20 plus hours continuously. That trunk opens 50 times a day, 18,000 times annually. Every hinge, latch, and seal must last 10 times longer than components in normal vehicles. These aren't concept features designed to impress at launch events. This is production engineering focused entirely on durability and operational longevity. It's the difference between building a car and building a commercial vehicle designed to generate profit for a decade. Tesla engineers confirmed to shareholders back in April that production starts Q2 2026. That's April, May, or June. We're now 127 days from April 1st. The timeline that seemed impossible 6 months ago is now looking increasingly real. What's enabling this timeline is a manufacturing revolution nobody's discussing outside industry circles. Traditional car assembly is linear. Chassis moves down a line. Workers add parts in sequence. Model Y takes 34 seconds per station. Cybercab targets under 10 seconds per station using what they call the Unboxed process. Instead of one long assembly line, imagine 6 parallel stations building different sections simultaneously. The front section with sensor array and crash structure gets built at the same time as the passenger cabin with seats and 21-inch display, while the rear section with motor and suspension is assembled in parallel, and the structural battery pack that forms the floor is prepared separately alongside the roof assembly with that controversial membrane design before final assembly brings everything together in Station 6. If this works as planned, Tesla can reduce total parts by 50% and cut assembly time by 70%. A typical sedan contains roughly 30,000 parts. Cybercab targets around 15,000 components, closer to a golf cart than a modern car in complexity. Fewer parts translates directly to lower manufacturing costs. Tesla estimates under $25,000 per Cybercab, less than half a Model 3's production cost. Remember that $54,000 annual profit per vehicle? Now you see exactly why Wall Street is betting on this, despite collapsing current sales. Here's my analysis of what's actually happening behind the scenes. The supply chain movement tells us more than any press release ever could. LG is building inductive charging systems specifically for this vehicle. Samsung is delivering 21-inch displays in volume. Panasonic is producing battery cells designed exclusively for 24/7 cycling. Different chemistry than regular Tesla batteries to handle constant charging without degradation. These are billion-dollar companies making $100 million investments in specialized components. Companies don't invest at this scale for vaporware or concept vehicles that might never reach production. They invest when orders are placed, contracts are signed, and money has already changed hands. The supply chain doesn't mobilize this way unless production is imminent and real. Yet the regulatory challenge remains the biggest unknown variable in this equation. Federal law requires steering wheels and pedals in all vehicles. No exceptions currently exist at the scale Tesla needs. NHTSA must grant an exemption, and current rules allow only 2,500 exemption vehicles per manufacturer annually. Tesla needs approval for hundreds of thousands of vehicles to make their business model work. The good news is, Texas granted preliminary state approval for Austin, San Antonio, and Houston metro areas. That represents 7 million potential riders in markets where Tesla can begin operations. The bad news is California is moving considerably slower on approvals. Despite testing in Palo Alto and Fremont, full commercial approval hasn't materialized. California cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles represent the markets where robotaxis either prove their viability or fail financially. Every autonomous vehicle company has hit unexpected delays that push timelines by years. Cruise had to shut down operations entirely after a serious accident. Waymo took 15 years to reach commercial operation, despite massive funding and resources. Weather testing alone requires months of validation. Will those sensor cameras survive Minnesota snow, Arizona summer heat, and Texas humidity while operating 20-plus hours daily for 5 to 10 years? Here's where I've changed my position based on the evidence. 6 months ago, I would have called April 2026 completely impossible. Just another Elon Musk timeline that would slip by years. Today, the evidence has genuinely changed my assessment. Tesla is already operating unsupervised in Austin with real employees as passengers and nobody at the controls. They've completed crash testing with positive results. The supply chain is delivering actual components, not prototypes. Texas regulatory approval is progressing through channels. Could there be 3 to 6 month delays? Absolutely, and I'd actually expect some slippage. Could NHTSA require additional safety validation that pushes timelines? Very possible, even likely. but limited production starting in the second quarter of 2026 and expanding through the year? For the first time since this was announced, I'm saying it's genuinely realistic. By early 2027, you could realistically hail a Cybercab in Austin or Houston for your daily commute. The real question nobody's asking cuts deeper than whether Cybercab launches on schedule. If Cybercab works at the scale Tesla is planning, what happens to Uber operating at $2 to $3 per mile? To Lyft charging similar rates? To the entire taxi industry built on cost structures 10 times higher? Morgan Stanley projects $20 billion in annual robotaxi revenue by 2030. That's new revenue added to everything else Tesla does, not replacing existing car sales. But Tesla's playing an entirely different game than anyone realizes. They're not just building autonomous cars or entering the ride-sharing market. They're building a complete transportation monopoly where they control the vehicle manufacturing, the autonomous software, the charging network, the dispatch platform, and keep 100% of the revenue with no partners to split profits with. When you control every layer of the stack, the margins become almost absurdly high. The question isn't whether Cybercab saves Tesla in 2026. The real question is whether traditional ride-sharing companies can survive once a 20-cent per mile alternative floods major cities with unlimited availability and zero wait times. Drop a comment with your honest take. Cybercab launches on time and dominates by 2027, or regulatory delays push this to 2028 to 2029 while competitors catch up. So here's exactly why Tesla's stock hit $490 while sales dropped 23%. Wall Street isn't betting on car sales. They're betting on Tesla operating millions of autonomous vehicles at 20 cents per mile, generating $54,000 in annual profit per car while keeping 100% of the revenue. No Uber taking cuts, no drivers to pay, just recurring profit that compounds every year. This is the business model shift that changes everything. Tesla transforms from a car manufacturer into a transportation monopoly, controlling the vehicles, the software, the charging network, and the entire customer experience. We're 127 days from April 2026. If that timeline holds, steering wheel-free taxis operating at 20 cents per mile hit Austin streets by early 2027. If regulatory delays push it to 2028, competitors get breathing room. Either way, the $2 to $3 per mile ride-sharing model faces an extinction event. Drop your prediction in the comments. Does Cybercab launch on time in 2027, or do delays push this to 2028 to 2029? If you want more analysis like this breaking down what's really happening with Tesla's future, hit that subscribe button for Tesla Zone and turn on notifications. We're tracking every development, every leak, every regulatory update as this story unfolds. The autonomous vehicle revolution starts in 127 days. You know where to find us. Here's something wild. While every automaker is stuffing more screens, motors, and gadgets into budget cars, Tesla just announced they're doing the exact opposite with Model 2. They're removing parts, hundreds of them, from seats to dashboard assemblies to climate controls. The automotive press is calling it cost-cutting, but is it? Or is Tesla betting on something most drivers won't realize until year 5, when repair bills start hitting? What if cutting interior parts isn't about saving money at the factory, but about stopping your car from quietly draining your wallet every month after you buy it? That's the question no one's asking. Traditional automakers spend 12 to 15 labor hours just assembling an interior. That's not building the car. That's just clicking together trim panels, running wire harnesses, installing switches, mounting speakers. Tesla is targeting 6 to 7 hours for Model 2. At typical automotive labor rates, that removes $800 to $1,200 per vehicle. But here's what matters more. That's not where the real savings happen. The real savings hit 5 to 8 years later, when you're the one paying the bills. Window switches, seat motors, climate control actuators, infotainment